Season 16, serial number 6, episode 103 overall.
Woo!
The Armageddon Factor, and
Woo!
so it comes. We come to the end
Woo!
of The Key to Time.
You know, it's
the
almost...
final segment, the final part, the final mention of The Key to Time
Can
ever.
I say... I have a
never
question.
comes back.
I have a question.
Yep.
Was this made during the Cold War?
Well, it was made. Well, the Cold War did go on for a very long time.
Yeah. I'm asking if it was made during the Cold War. I assume. I don't know dates exactly in my brain. It feels very... Yeah.
This is 1979.
Yeah.
So. Very cold, very war. Technically, all of Doctor Who has been made during the Cold War, but it depends on when you want to say that the Cold War started.
When it started ramping up and people were told to hide under their desks in case of nuclear attack.
That's quite a long time ago.
Okay, that's
anyway.
fair.
The Armageddon Factor, 6 episodes, a big epic. What happens in part 1, dear?
Well, we see two people in love having to leave one another and speaking about it over piano music.
Cut to the doctor really quick talking about a place called Atrios that he's never been to, and they're like, okay. Cut back to a sickbay of a war, and actually those lovers were on a TV screen, and that's what they're watching because, you know, bombs are dropping on the city and everybody is dying. Computers are reporting the damage to the city. A lady is standing in between all the computers, and then a pair of men are standing in front of her, and it's a full-blown war. Their target is Zeos. Apparently it's hidden, and the commander is very angry about it. And the princess wants to go to the hospital, but she's stopped, and only will be allowed to leave when there's peace. But then they talk and agree to let her go with a guard, and make snide comments about her and the surgeon. For some reason. And the princess gets pissy about the commander when he broadcasts about winning the war with Xenon propaganda. And the princess arrives at the infirm, and everyone just has, like, groaning pain noises, because all the hospitals are full, so everybody is sleeping on the ground on top of rocks. The surgeon takes her to the side and goes, "Oh, it's been so long since we've secretly talked about how we are in love, and if we get caught, we will probably be killed, or something." And it's like,
murder.
But Zeos isn't even there. Something weird is going on. And they're super confused about how something is happening, and Xeon is more advanced than them. But they're not that advanced. It's kind of weird how they word it. Cut to the TARDIS basically floating over the planet. Something is wrong. There's a bunch of zeros in the coordinates, and the planet is like 1,000,000 miles away. Also, Zeos is missing, so the doctor thinks something has gone wrong. Because something has gone wrong. Romana thinks it's the Black Guardian. And the princess is stopped in the hallway and called back from the children's wards because fuck them kids. They're evacuating the kids to a place that was supposedly radiation contaminated. But it's fine. That's where they have to go. So, they have now found the TARDIS on the radar, which is fun. Romana notes that Atrios' radiation levels are off the fucking charts, so they're at nuclear war. And the doctor's like, no, that's not doable. But it must be to have to do with the key to time, of course. Cut to the princess being sent into a room, locked in. And because the guard is, of course, just obeying of orders, the commander just kills him because he can. Commander is confused about what the TARDIS is, but it's in range, so destroy it. So they launch a nuke and straight for the TARDIS. And Romana's like, let's leave, like, right now. And the doctor's like, actually, let's do it the last second to confuse them. But then the K9 is like, 3, 2, and he's like, oh, God. And they think they actually blew them up. Cut to the commander celebrating that, and then cut to the TARDIS swooping in. Cut to the TARDIS. Swooping onto wherever they are. They walk out. K9 is here too because there's no water or stairs. But the radiation levels are fucking insane and all over the place. And also there's a dead guy over there. Let's go look at the dead guy. Also, let's open this door and make a little hole just to peek in. Meanwhile, inside, the princess is dying of radiation poisoning. The second in command goes to talk to Commander, and he freaks the fuck out. And he's like, don't do that for some reason. I want to talk to my mirror. Okay. And then the commander leaves, and the doctor has made a hole in the wall and notices that there's someone in the room. But then they're at gunpoint by the commander, and he's like, you killed this man. Wow, you are under arrest. And K9 has been hidden and safe, but then when they are led away, K9 tries to follow, and there's a cave-in, and K9 cannot follow. The commander calls the doctor a spy, and the second in command goes, "Who the fuck are they?" And they're like, "It's a spy." And we bring the surgeon in
It's a spy.
and ask him about the doctor, and blames him for the princess going missing. So now he's blaming everyone around her for, I guess, political reasons. The doctor argues that they aren't even armed, gives them a whistle to blow, and he's like, "It doesn't even work, what the fuck?" And they're like, "We tourist people around wars, it's very educational." But then at the last second, they admit that they're looking for a key. Cut to the princess having a door open near her, even though she's dead on the ground, and her crown falls off, and K9 running around. And K9 comes into the room with his nose gun ready, and the doctor's like, "Fuck you, I'm out." And K9 shoots out the lights, and they run the fuck off back to the TARDIS. And the princess is being abducted by someone in a metal mask, and they somehow swoop away in the wall, and then it closes, and then Romana and the doctor are running back towards the TARDIS, but oh no, the TARDIS is gone. That's it.
That's it. The TARDIS is gone. Everyone
Yeah.
dies. Rocks fall.
Yeah.
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 So, the Armageddon Factor.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to do with like what this as a season finale sort of meant. One of my favorite things is that so you know how Doctor Who is cut into different episodes, right? So this is a 6 episode. Previous one was 4 episodes long.
Yep.
Technically, episode 1 for this is episode 500 of Doctor Who, but it doesn't really count because they don't count the episodes like that. Anyway, also, roughly 2 months after this entire episode was broadcast, the anime series Mobile Suit Gundam first aired in Japan, and I mention it purely because it featured a faction called Zeons, although their uniforms bore a closer resemblance to the Atrions. And there's a whole heap of shit about, where it came from, the idea of, like, this whole planet and everything. And we'll get into that when we talk more about the Cold War. Because, of course, we're going to talk about the Cold War. What do you think? What do you fucking think we are? But, first thing you need to know is this was written by Bob Baker and Dave Martin, a pair who have written quite a lot for Doctor Who in the past and will continue to write more. Previous ones they wrote were The Claws of Axos, The Mutants, The Three Doctors, The Sontaran Experiment, A Hand of Fear, The Invisible Enemy, Underworld, which was a favorite, this one, and then they wrote also the drug one. Well, one of them wrote it. Bob Baker wrote the drug one, which we'll get to. It is next season. Wait, no, it's not. It's the season after, isn't it? I don't remember. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah. We'll get to it at some point.
Oh, no, it is next season.
Oh.
Yeah, it's next season, so we're very close to the drug thing, but I have no drugs, so I guess we're not doing the drug thing anymore.
Well, I mean, we could still. You just have to wrangle me in. That'll be...
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Just
anyway,
get more
what happens
drugs.
in the next part?
Just get more drugs, Gam. Jeez. God.
Yeah,
God.
sure.
I mean, it can't be that hard. Anyway, the doctor goes, "Oh, we have time. We have all the time in the world. We can find it." But then the surgeon walks up and goes, "Hey, I love the princess. Where the fuck is she?" And then the doctor goes, "I think she's in that high radiation zone, so we should open that door and be careful." The doctor, of course, thinks that the commander is the one fucking with everything. The surgeon continues to talk to a doctor, unsure of why this is happening. They break into the room. No one's there, but they find her crown. Also, it's really radioactive in here. And they continue to talk to her, and K9 is like, "Get the fuck out of this room. Why are you here?"
Fuck.
So yeah, if there's no way out, let's just go back the way we came. Go talk to the commander. Commander's staring at a weird mirror, and they know where the doctor is on a scanner, and they're like, "He's just literally coming here." So they're like, "Okay." Commander keeps touching his neck, face bits, and it's like weird. And he's like, "Oh, you know that metal thing? Let's recycle him." Cut to K9, cutting more holes in the wall and looking at things. And then they've locked onto K9. They're going to get rid of him. This is going to be very hard to explain because I didn't really understand what was happening. a door opens up in front of K9 with a magical symbol that either hypnotizes or drags, or K9 just follows, and it's floating, and he follows it in, which then lets him lead to the recycling thing.
Yep.
I have no other way to describe this.
No, that's correct.
Okay. Meanwhile, Romana and the doctor are walking around, and the wand isn't beeping, which is weird. And the doctor and them get caught, and the doctor tries to talk to the second in command first, and is pulled away from the others. And he's like, listen, I'm gonna go talk to the commander. But the commander won't respond. He's supposedly meditating in front of his mirror, and the doctor's like, he's like, we talk about a ventriloquist / dummy, and then he's like, oh my god, he's a puppet. But he doesn't say the quiet part out loud. And the commander is like, oh right, you were foretold in our history, you're the one to lead us to victory. The doctor asks if they're under arrest or not, it's never really answered. Then we know that they found the Zion fleet. K9 is crying as he heads towards his death. The doctor sat in a chair, told to watch some people fight and die, realizes what actually is happening is that they only have 6 ships against the huge other fleet, so they have no chance. But the ships are getting hit and they're losing all their... It's a battle. They disengage and they now only have 3 ships. Doctor says, if we can find the princess, and only then I will help you. Also, K9 is still dying and overheating. And the doctor's like, I'm going to make a barrier, and neither of you can get through, but it'll work, and it'll stop the war. And he's like, that's not good enough. I want to fucking kill them. And he also mentions, I need K9, but it's like, where's K9? And they're like, and we say K9 fall into the furnace, and the doctor runs that way and jumps into, like, the recycling area, apparently, like, tries to grab K9 and maybe also falls into the furnace. Anyway, the commander is very upset, and he's like, he can't die, not yet. And Romana's like, that's not how you should say that. And then also...
That's not how that's meant to be said.
Yeah. And also we see there's weird thing on the commander's neck that looks like a weird port thing. And we see that K9 is saved, and the doctor is okay, so let's go talk. The doctor wants to use a psychological barrier because it's cheap, but it means that he has to go meet one of the enemies to make it. So the commander goes, there's no way for that to happen. Also, Romana mentions exactly what was said outside of the furnace and the neck thing to the doctor and the mirror, and he's like, that's weird. The surgeon also wants to know these things, by the way, so he does. He also thinks that Astra is on Zeos. Astra is the princess, but no one can locate it, so there's something in between the 2 planets, right? That must make sense. The commander is like, do that, but now they're basically fucked. This is their last battle. Hurry up, doctor, we need help. Also, why do we need a barrier? Because otherwise you have no planet to live on. Also, the doctor asked to go to Zeos and get the princess. Cut to the princess saying she's captive and they should give up or be destroyed. Also, we see that mirror is actually a 2-way mirror, and the commander is speaking to, like, a skull inside, and he knows the doctor is a Time Lord, and that there is an assault planned on the doctor. And the doctor starts to question everything that's happening. He's like, someone's really stupid. Oh, well. And goes into the room that he was sent to, and K9 is told to stay there, and he gets fucking captured. Romana tries to stop it and goes, oh my god, but it was a trap, K9. And the doctor hears that through the wall and goes, oh shit, it's a trap. And then he's poofed away.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
A trap.
Oh fuck.
Oh shit, a trap. So, Anthony Reed became exhausted as script editor and announced that he wanted to leave. He nominated Douglas Adams as his successor. Graham Williams, the producer, asked Robert Holmes to step in instead. Holmes said that he was busy and he had done his work with the program for now, so he didn't want to come back. But Douglas Adams was worth a shot. So Williams contacted Adams, who had asked to be given time to get The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy out of the way first, and then he shadowed Anthony Reed for 6 weeks. His first amendment to the series as a script editor was the title, because initially it was just going to be called Armageddon. And he was like, yeah, it's not that great a title. Then the nature of the 6th segment was deemed to be too unfilmable, if elegant. Originally, it was supposed to be the Shadow's Shadow was the 6th segment. Princess Astra's name was initially Princess Raina, but they all pronounced it like half a different dozen ways, so they just changed it to Astra to make it easier to say. And he also introduced the idea of the Doctor, like the idea of something called chronodyne to make fake segmentish things with. And finally, the end of the story was given a proper conclusion rather than just, well, here's your key, Mr. Guardian, sir. Thank you for the job. Goodbye. So they gave it an actual conclusion.
Yeah.
Zeos was also meant to be populated by mutants, but Reed changed this even before Douglas Adams got involved because it was way too much like Genesis of the Daleks. And they added Mentalis instead, replacing the idea of Zeos being a near mirror image of Atrios. And I'll talk more about it in the next part, because I'll start talking about the Cold War in that. But what happens in the next part?
This is based on the Cold War? Okay.
I know, right? Lots of
my
aspects of
God.
it are specific things about the Cold War that America doesn't really like people knowing.
Yep. The surgeon is like, oh god, those are Zeons, and Romana goes, we should find the TARDIS and use it, and the commander is arguing with the skull and saying, you promised me victory, but it responds saying, like, you will get no more attacks from Zeos, so I guess you won, lol. And the second in command is starting to question some things. K9 basically goes, the TARDIS is missing, so whoopsie, and we put a net thingy on the Doctor and go, you're in my power, but then he's like, no, and takes it off. So he sat in a chair, and Shadow the Hedgehog basically talks to him and goes, you want the key, bitch, I have the key, where's the other parts of the key that you have? And he lies and gets electrocuted, and he lies again and again and again and again. Then the TARDIS materializes, and he goes, yeah, the timepiece is in there, and I guess I can open it. But here's the thing, if you kill me, you won't get it open. And we notice Romana and them have noticed that the bombs have stopped, so they're not sure what's going on. Surgeon steals the fucking key tracer from Romana, jumps in the teleporter like a fucking idiot, alone, and leaves. Doctor's, of course, delaying getting the timepieces. The Shadow's like, I'll fuck you up. And he's like, you'll never get them if you do that. And he's like, but I can't get them if I built this failsafe that I can only take it out with another piece, and you don't trust me, and I don't trust you, and then another 1,000 years for this dude means nothing. Shadow the Hedgehog bros leave and say, you should get one of those pieces, bitch, I'm waiting, and the Doctor's like, lol. And I'll just walk around and look for the other segment then while you're gone. Surgeon is now on the ship, and the tracer's buzzing. Cut to the princess chained to a wall, unsure of what the fuck the 6th segment is. It was passed down to her entire family line, supposedly, and she's the only one left, so she should know where it is. She's also revealed that she's not on Zeos, she's somewhere else entirely. Cut to the commander, being told the situation. He readies up to command the final ship with nukes. K9 destroys the lock and beam up with Romana, and they head in, followed by the second in command. Second in command is here and can't call back to control, and he's like, huh. But he does find the Doctor, and they meet up. And then the Doctor knows Romana and K9 and the second in command were here. Too bad the Doctor is now being arrested by the second in command and question how he got here. Also, he's on Zeos, and he's like, no, I'm what? No, I'm not. No. And Romana, no. And then Romana has found the surgeon with the bracelet from the princess because the tracer was going off of her bracelet, but it's not doing like a full tick. So second in command and the Doctor are running around and mentioned, like, it's weird that it's not irradiated here and it's really empty and there's like no one here. So wait, have we seen anyone from Zeos? What do they look like? The dudes that captured me didn't really look like that. K9 shows up after being whistled, and he wants them to meet the Xenon Commandant. And for some reason, K9 is being weird, and he's like, I'm communicating with my own kind, hee. Cut to the commander being psychotic, saying that he's going to kill Xenon himself, and propaganda. Romana has met the Doctor, but mentions the bracelet couldn't be the segment because it's been in contact with it, and it's not fully, like, ticking off for some reason. Like, it's like at a 2 out of 5, it's like, it's not fully there. The surgeon freaks the fuck out about the princess, and the second in command goes, shut the fuck up. K9 asks everyone to hang out silently, does a spin, and the door opens. And he rolls in, there's a big old crystal, he talks to it, it beeps, he beeps back, little probie comes out, beep, beep, more computer stuff, then he comes back out and goes, hey, I'll see you now, follow me.
Beep, beep.
And the doctor points out that the crystal is a world general because it's perfect, fully automated, there's no xenons, there's no chance of bloodshed, he's literally the perfect thing. Second in command pulls out a gun and the gun gets shot out of his hand. They look like a slap and chop, by the way. Its name is like Mentalis or something, but it doesn't really come up a whole lot. Also, would you ask it about the princess real fast? Thanks. Also, all the info about her is unattainable, but the war is found to be over, and next is obliteration for all. And cut to the commander being like, okay, let's attack now. Woo! Attack time! Attack time!
Huzzah!
Woo!
Huzzah! Everyone time to get attacked.
Woohoo! Attack time!
So, in the 1950s, a group of technocrats formed the Research and Development Corporation, or RAND. Based in Santa Monica, this think tank attempted to guide US government policy along scientific principles and use rationality, especially mathematically determinable strategies, as the basis for risk evaluation. By placing numerical values on outcomes and potential losses, they believed it was possible to determine the optimum outcome of any eventuality, and crucially, that as anyone with any sense would do the same. An opponent's move are predictable. This was the era of computers still being mathematical procedures made manifest rather than data processing contraptions, and of games of chess where pieces were hidden from you. Much of the maths comes from John von Neumann, whose work on gambling and second-guessing developed a whole branch of mathematics called game theory, and a realm of computer-aided scenario development usually called Kriegspiel. The acid test came with the Vietnam War. The US State Department, under Robert McNamara, believed that RAND's ability to resolve the otherwise baffling strategies adopted by the Viet Cong. By 1968, the problem was becoming apparent. In a war like this, with no definite outcome in mind, how do you know if you've won? Statistical analysis of casualty figures were no use, as these were inflated and exaggerated beyond all recognition. Later, it emerged that US/NATO estimates of the threat from the Soviet Union were wild guesses based on A, believing the Soviet propaganda at face value, B, believing that the Soviets had nothing better to do than invade anywhere they felt like, rather than their real strategy, which was waiting for all nations to realize that the Soviet way was the best way, which they actually did think that way. And C, believing that the Soviet arms buildup was offensive rather than defensive, thus justifying more Western arms expenditure and making the Soviets even more defensive in return. And we now know that their whole military strategy was based on the idea that they were terrified that an American-led force was going to invade them at any moment. Also D, big arms companies relying on fat government contracts and telling everyone how scary the commies were. When a Foxbat fighter plane was delivered to the West by a defecting pilot in 1978, experts were amazed at how crude it was. The radios had vowels rather than transistors. So the roots of this episode are coming a little bit more obvious when you think about that sort of thing. It's like, okay, we have two great big superpowers and they're making... We're on the side of one of them and they're making great assumptions about the other side, and then, wait a minute, this is nothing what we thought. Wait, hang on. This was the period when it was finally permissible to question the leadership of Churchill, among others. The head of the Strategic Air Command at a crucial stage of World War II, Sir Arthur Bomber Harris, was now openly being called a war criminal for the damage to civilian targets in Dresden. Reminder, it wasn't just the Germans that did air raids on London. The British did the same to the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, both are equally terrible. Targeting civilians like that.
War bad.
The Marshal on
War bad.
War bad.
No matter
the Marshal
what,
on
war bad.
Atrios, for all his paraphrasing of Shakespeare's Richard II, at the Doctor's prompting, is manifestly Winston Churchill in this. The buckle down in your shelters and wait for victory attitude of the planet is obviously meant to strike a chord with older viewers, as are little touches of like patriotic recycling of metal, which kind of then in turn makes Astra Princess Elizabeth, I guess, like back in before she was queen, or just as the queen. Bit muddled there, but again, it's not meant to be one-to-one. Of course, there's another blatant and obvious source. Like Bob and Dave's last outing, Underworld, this is a Greek myth knockoff. The ongoing stalemate with an all-important princess as the prize. It's meant to suggest the siege of Troy. The key moment comes when the miniaturized Doctor enters the enemy stronghold inside of K9, which is perhaps the greatest abuse of mythology in the series' history. Atreus could be attributed to Atreus, while Zeus is Zeus.
No.
Even so, if Bob and Dave were writing a pure space opera version of the story, then the two planets would more likely end up with names like Greeks and Terroi, because they weren't very good at naming things. They name things so literally. It's so dumb. But even then, it fits as well. However, it's mainly to contemporary news reports that we should be looking. The hospital is much like the ones seen in the day. The strategy of mutually assured destruction was in headlines constantly. And you know, if you think the Marshal's costume is a bit over the top, you should have seen what some leaders were wearing in Latin America that year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty timely, of its time story, but you know, has its importance.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens in the next part, dear? Since we're moving on to the Cold War, what happens now?
The crystal's gonna react if it's attacked, but it thinks it's won, so it won't counterattack. It's going to self-destruct, and it's gonna blow up both Zeus and Atreus. Total Armageddon. Everybody's dead. The only way to win is to not play. The Doctor then informs everyone about the Shadow. Cut to the Shadows meeting the princess, but they're putting a thing on her neck and taking over her brain. She has duties to perform. Go meet the surgeon. Smile while you do it. You look pretty when you do it. Also, by the way, the second in command has been shot by a shadow person and sent back through the teleporter. Astra meets up with the surgeon,
Finally.
but it's a hologram and it's weird, which makes the surgeon have an acid trip, fall down a well. Doctor is apparently working on the crystal. He's worried he'll hurt it, but apparently it's fine. The Shadow probably built this crystal, and the planet was probably between Atreus and Zeus somewhere. The Doctor opens up the crystal computer, really wants to blow up now, so that sucks. They're in a time bomb. The crystal is going to blow up the sequence, whatever, so we have to do something about it. Too bad the crystal is, it's whatever. And the lasers move to shoot the Doctor, but they just shoot the crystal instead. Meanwhile, the warheads on the commander's ship are ready to go, and the Doctor's like, oh, what? And they run into the TARDIS. Back at the TARDIS, they put the 5 pieces together and nothing happens. But the gap it creates means they know its shape. So we can make our own 6-piece out of styrofoam. And the commander goes and gets a call saying, hey, abort the plan. And he's like, lol, no, get closer. The Doctor's made a piece that is like 74% stable, so it's not that great. They should be able to make a timeless zone for a little while. Cut to the commander saying fire over and over and over and over and over, and they keep playing the same fucking frames again and again and again. I hate this fucking trope. You can do it like once and you get it. People are not stupid. But the Doctor's like, holy shit, I stopped the universe and I have absolute power right now. However, the piece is fake and is going to deteriorate, and they don't know for how long. Probably about like 3 minutes or so. They have absolute power, so they just confine the power of time stopping to the Marshal's ship and the Xenon computer room. So they need to hurry. Oh god. Shadow has noticed the key to time has been used, and the princess is now going to help access the TARDIS. The princess is now talking into the void that the surgeon fell into, offers to help him out. Princess holds his neck for a bit. Holds her neck for a bit, sorry, but K9 stops, and she's like, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm the princess, and he's like, okay, but who's with you? And they're like, I don't know. Okay, but who's with you? And he's like, they're hostiles, and they run away. K9 fights off the shadow people. The princess is like, the TARDIS, what's inside? I need to get inside so badly for some reason. I have trouble with the air here. I must find your friends and get in this TARDIS. Ugh. Anyway, so they leave again, and the shadow people are sent off to Astros, but they leave a distress call thing in the tube. K9 just drives straight into it and whooshes away and is teleported like a dingus. Surgeon catches the princess and have met up with the Doctor and Romana. Doctor catches up on everything, then they say, you should go use the transmat. She's like, no, I want to stay with you and go at the TARDIS. And she's like, no, you should go on the transmat. The two of them think it's actually fucking bullshit, but they're like, we have other things to worry about. We know this is literally bullshit, but like, we're bigger things. K9 is now
Bigger.
at the Shadow Planet area. He wanders around for a bit. Surgeon follows over in pain, and he's like, please, princess, help me up. And she's like, then perish. So there's that. And he's like, what do you mean? And she runs away, and he's like, oh my god. And he hobbles back into the swoosher to go back to Atrios. Princess runs into the room the doctor's in. She's like, let me in, they're gonna attack me. And she's like, okay. And so they open up the TARDIS in order to escape. So now she's in there, and time is stretched to about 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes, by the way, because it's deteriorating. The princess is just like dead, locked, staring at the key to time, almost touches it, but the doctor's like, no, bad, it's hot, don't touch it. The oven is on, you don't touch it. And then the TARDIS swoops off and is at the Shadow Planet where K9 is, and K9 is sitting with the Shadow Man and going, yes, master. And it's very sad. K9 is getting treated like shit. Anyway.
Poor K9.
Yep.
So it was on the set of the Armageddon Factor that Tom Baker was very angry with some scripts. However, the director of this one actually got along with him, so it worked out well. But meanwhile, Tom Baker behind the scenes was demanding way more power. He wanted story approval, he wanted director choice, and he wanted casting decisions to be his or he would leave.
Mm-hmm.
The BBC don't usually operate that way, so it kind of came to an ultimatum. It was either be Graham Williams or Tom Baker. One had to go. Baker sent a card to Williams stating he was leaving. There's a long chain of like people going to their higher ups going like, what are we gonna do? To the point where they essentially came back and were like, okay, well, Graham Williams, fire Tom Baker. But then Graham Williams was like, I refuse because I think Tom Baker is just bluffing. And then they had a long meeting where it turned out Baker was just sick of having his suggestions nodded at and then ignored. And so after the meeting, the powers that be were a lot less inclined to take his little tantrums seriously. Like his own little suggestions on set and everything. He was like, why don't we do this? And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. No, we're not doing that. But they use this sort of measure of deteriorating relationship to use this information to try and persuade Mary Tam to stay on for another year. Tam had been married for less than 3 months when she got the part, and she'd barely seen her husband since. Although she had at least managed to get pregnant, she believed the part near the limit of what could be done. She didn't think there was anything more to do with Romana, and she felt like she joined because she wanted Romana to be... She was excited by the prospect of this sort of independent woman who wouldn't be, the damsel in distress. But she was also just like, come on, you're kind of writing me a little bit like that sometimes, a little bit too much. It was common for a long time that like people thought she left because she was pregnant, but it was mainly just because she thought they were doing everything they could with the character and there wasn't anything left to do. But then she sort of jokingly suggested the person who would replace her. She was like, oh yeah, why don't you replace me with them? And that's exactly what happened. But anyway, what happens in the next part, dear?
So K9 is sent off to greet them because the TARDIS landed. Princess is staring at the cube. They try to figure out what to do. They can't track it without breaking out of the loop because they need the tracker. The doctor's like, hey, Princess, come with us, find the shadow. And she's like, I want to stay here. Stay here. But then she instantly gets an order to go with them. So she's like, okay, wait, actually, no, let's go. So she and Romana leave. Doctor picks up the distress signal, assumes it's from K9, follows it. Romana and Princess are avoided by K9. He's to still go after the doctor. Doctor has found the distress beacon tracker, and it's like, well, fuck. He runs into some holograms of the girls. He thinks they're real. The signal's fading. It's a whole acid trip. In reality, Romana's chasing the doctor, but the doctor's chasing it's a whole thing. The princess is like, let's actually go this way, Romana. And then the doctor sees another doctor, and he's like, oh, I get it. And he straight up tells Shadow Dude, hey, I know what the fuck you're doing. And Shadow Dude goes, bitch, you think you know? I know what the fuck you're doing. The Black Guardian's got my back, bitch. And then the princess is leading Romana into an area where she's now captured Lowell. And even though the doctor is passed out, he found a signal that he was looking for. The doctor looks around the area, runs into a random bald man that he doesn't know, but he does know. And he's like, hey, Feet. Apparently, calling him, I don't really understand. It's fine. Romana is trapped.
Do you want to know what that is?
We'll get there in a minute. Romana is trapped in a cellophane crystal. You can tell me when I'm done talking. Shocked a lot. Oh boy, it's very sexy. The bald guy is named Drax. They went to school together, Time Lord school. He's apparently a repair dude while the doctor got his doctorate.
Even though technically the doctor didn't, because he got kicked out of the academy.
Yeah. By the way, the hole in the wall doesn't lead to a way out, but still, let's go in here. Also, I haven't found the transmat shaft because my TARDIS is on Zeos. So crawl into my tunnel, look around. I have stabilizer components. I've been here for 5 years, and I haven't been able to escape. But, like, what the fuck? He's in with the shadows, isn't he? Then the doctor's like, you want to come to my TARDIS, don't you? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay. Well, you're full of shit, so stop and work with me. And he's like, okay. Romana is still shocked till they're done and everything she knows is not enough. So we can send K9 after the doctor again so we can offer Romana's life this time. So Drax has another tunnel that the doctor crawls through, but he's found by K9. And he's like, he didn't call me master, he called me doctor. That's weird. So he basically immobilizes K9 after learning that Romana is captured and shoves him in the hole. And he's like, remove the control device. And he's like, okay, now what? And he's like, nothing. And the doctor's running around, gets captured. K9 wakes up, tells Drax to put him upright or he's gonna fucking kill him. He starts to regenerate his whatever drivers. Shadow asks the doctor for the key to time. Romana's shocked a bunch. He refuses to work under threat. He's like, where's the sixth piece? May I see it? And he's like, no. But I should bring my timepieces here instead? Is that what you're wanting? This is bullshit. The Shadow is basically like, I want mutual destruction. By the way, Drax fixed his thing that the doctor wanted. So the doctor's led back to the TARDIS to get the timepiece. And they also take the neck piece off the princess, and she has no idea what's going on. Doctor opens the TARDIS, and he's like, wait, Shadow Dude, let me reason with you. While Drax gets in position and then fires the thing that misses completely and shrinks the doctor and then shrinks himself.
Drax!
Oh boy.
Drax.
Oh boy. So,
Drax was initially going to be conceived a long time ago. He was initially going to be in the original version of The Hand of Fear. You remember that episode where the Sarah Jane's final episode where there's that weird hand that they find in the quarry and it gets irradiated and turns into a woman. Evil woman, rock woman. That initially was going to involve a rogue Time Lord called Drax, and he initially was going to be sort of older, shorter, stouter, and have a touch of swagger about him. Which, take of it what you will. I will note there is a Big Finish story that is a one-off story that's called The Trouble with Drax, and it's all about the Doctor and Romana meeting Drax again after this story, and it's actually really fucking funny, and it's I highly recommend it. It's a fun one, but that's anyway. Sort of God, I have to talk about the outtake thing now. So there's an outtake that was made that where they used to have fun on set quite a bit, and one of the ones that actually got kept was when Mentalis gets self-destructed, he sort of goes like, oh, it's mindless now, clicking towards oblivion. How long, K9? And then K9 goes, damage renders data unavailable. And Tom Baker just goes, yeah, you never know the answer when it's fucking important, do you? And everyone started pissing themselves laughing. For some reason, a lot of people use that as like footage of Tom Baker being difficult to work with on set. It's not. That's him joking around on set. Also a few other things here and there. An interesting thing about this episode as well, in 1997, UK Gold was scheduled to show this episode on the same morning that the country woke up to the news that Princess Diana had died. This being a story about a morale-boosting, charity-obsessed princess who's disposed of by her government. UK Gold pulled it at the last minute. The replacement they showed was Planet of Spiders, in which a much-beloved icon gets into a car chase and then is killed by an evil queen.
Jesus.
They can't escape it.
What was the feed thing?
Oh, feet. That's basing it off the Doctor's nickname at the Academy, which was Theta Sigma. It's kind of, people thought that, like, he says it after he says feet, but people sort of thought that was the Doctor's name.
Yeah, that's what came across.
But it's not.
For
it's
me.
Just a nickname. They kind of imply it, but then they're like, no, it's a nickname.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what Feet is. It's Theta Sigma. It was his nickname at the Academy. Which, yeah. So anyway, what happens in the last part, dear?
Well, they're doing crack. they're in crack now. They're into crack now. And they can't get bigger here because they would just fill up the crack and die. And everything's going to shit, even the time loop. The commander, by the way, is insane, Drax. He's in a time loop, don't worry about it. Too bad Surgeon and Second Commander are out of the loop and trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Fuck the 6-piece, by the way. The records of the princess are all on the computer. We should probably figure that out. And what the fuck is going on? We do a whole play the same scene again. So the Doctor instead has decided to just walk into the crack further and just try meth. So Shadow goes, oh, the door is open and we should get it ourselves because it's just that easy. And the princess is like, it's my destiny. It's here. I'm the 6th person of the 6th place of the 6th time. I am 6. And Drax has
I am 6 years old.
Drax has a path that's almost done that they can surprise the Shadow people on. And Shadow goes and tries to go into the TARDIS, but it's really bright in there and he doesn't have Ray-Bans. So he's like, my minion, go in there instead and come out with the timepiece. And Romana goes, oh my god, you're the 6th timepiece, aren't you, honey? And she's like, I am 6! And the Surgeon goes, also figures out the whole princess thing. And he's like, oh my... And he's like, oh my god, she's the... And K9 is blasting through a wall to get inside. Surgeon, disguised as Shadow Bro, joins the procession of marching boys, but the Shadows are ready to end all time and shit. K9 is in position to fuck shit up. Princess is ready to turn into the final piece of the time cube, which she does. K9 busts through the wall and claims his still his master, and there's an intruder. But where's the Doctor? He's like, bro, I got you. I eliminated them. But K9 is like, okay, master, your turn. And they hop out of K9 and get big again. And the Doctor takes the timepiece and shines some light at Shadow and stops him because, again, he doesn't have Ray-Bans and runs to the TARDIS. Drax stays behind to get them out safely. The Surgeon, by the way, is upset and he's like, I don't understand where the princess is. I'm so sad. And Romana is extremely upset that they've murdered people, technically, sort of. But they can't put the Sigma in less than a second, so they can't really fix the loop. So what are they going to do? Back at the planet, Drax is also here. He figures out which wire to cut, which stops the Crystal General dude from blowing up. And he's like, wait, where's K9? He's like, he's fine. He's just injured. And he's like, okay. But the commander is still firing nukes. With the loop done, what's going to happen? And then the nukes go off and they miss the planet entirely and are shot at the Shadow ship. And then the Shadow dude ghostly speaks to the Black Guardian, who also ghost talks back to, it's the White Guardian, oh, wait a second! And the Doctor sets up, apparently set up a force field for half a second to deflect it, and he just didn't really plan on where it was going, so if it had missed the ship, then it would probably have just blown up some random planet. Because in space, things keep going.
Things keep going.
Drax is headed back to rebuild with the commander after he offers that plan to him, and the Doctor gets absolutely taken over by the absolute power to be funny. The White Guardian shows up and goes, oh, hey, you finished, did you? And Romana goes, that's not him. Oh my God. And the doctor's like, shut up, Romana. I'm going to ask about the key. I'm going to tell the key to time to wait. No, why? Why don't you just do it from here? And he's like, oh, well, I have to keep it safe. And he's like, oh, right. Okay, well, key of time. What if you, oh, wait, no, hold on. The sixth segment is a person. That's fucked up, isn't it? He's like, dude, it's one person versus the entire galaxy. And he's like, oh, okay. So he tells it to stay exactly where it is. And he goes and he's like, look, and the video inverts colors, and it's actually the Black Guardian. Can't you tell? And all the TARDIS defenses are up. And the Black Guardian's like, bitch, I'll kill you. Yes, I actually wrote defenses, apparently. I didn't even realize that. And the doctor is like, okay, let's swoop. And then he breaks the timepiece tracker at that exact moment, and all the segments go their own ways. And the princess is apparently back too, and with the surgeon, and it's not really clear how he got home, but don't worry about it. So, all the pieces are scattered to the universe, and Romana is upset that the doctor has no idea where they're going, and he's such a fucking idiot. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Because I'm running a randomizer at GDQ. Not even I know what I'm doing. And the doctor or the Black Guardian don't know where I'm going. Whoa! And they swoop off, and she's like, oh, I get it.
Oh, I get it. It's funny. So, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The initial ending, the initial story was meant to be like, Astra was meant to be an astrophysicist who had discovered the Shadows planet lying between the two warring worlds. The conflict had arisen because Atrios and Zeos blamed each other for a catastrophic shift in their orbits.
Mm-hmm.
They were being egged on by the Shadow, known as the Presence, on Atrios, and the Voice on Zeos. The Doctor was forced to use the makeshift key to time to temporarily freeze both planets' armies. The Shadow's own shadow turned out to be the sixth segment of the key to time, and his plan was to use the powers of the key to pit one half of the universe in a war against the other half. The Doctor would have stopped the Shadow by unfreezing the Atrian and Xeon armies and giving each the coordinates of the Shadow Castle of Evil, so they would have, banded together at the end. And initially, the Black Guardian wasn't meant to appear in the climax. It was meant to be the Doctor deciding that he didn't trust the White Guardian with the key, and consequently scattered the six segments again to prevent anyone from controlling it. This was changed, though, when the original actor for the White Guardian was unavailable to reprise his role. But I kind of call bullshit, because that ending is way better, because it brings to question the idea that, the White Guardian is good and the Black Guardian is evil. It's like, even the Doctor kind of said it. He's like, he's the lesser of two evils. He's not actually a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get into this with more sort of stuff with the Black and White Guardian, especially in Big Finish. But it's like the White Guardian is not all that's good. He's the embodiment of control and order, which air of goodness to it. But total control and total order is not, entirely good. Whereas the Black Guardian is the embodiment of chaos, which, chaos is more inherently evil in this case.
Yeah, because chaos control.
Neither of them are... Yeah, exactly. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. But that's the Armageddon Factor. That's the key to time. Now we're on a random journey, dear.
Oh, boy. Let me guess,
random.
to get the timepieces again, maybe?
No. There's no overarching story anymore. It'll be a while until we get an entire season of one whole story.
Okay.
And that one I really, really like. But now it's back to standard one-on-one stories. Season 17. One of, if not my absolute favorite Tom Baker season.
Mm-hmm.
Because of a few episodes in it. K9's still there. Romana's still there. So,
yeah.
I hope you like it. So, what did you think of the Armageddon Factor, dear?
Well, I can tell you right now, it already has, multiple tropes I fucking hate. So...
Mm-hmm.
Which I hate these because we've talked about them in previous Doctor Who episodes, where they do the same thing again and again and again, if it's to cut for budget or if it's to do whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. I hate it. I hate it so much. Because your audience is not that stupid. Yeah. You can show it once and they get the idea, or you can show it once and be like, oh my god, time's repeating, and you move on. You don't need to pad it. And I'm at a 3. Honestly, I don't...
That's fair.
It's not terrible.
Personally...
It's not terrible.
Personally, but
I don't want to watch it because of this bullshit.
I feel like it's another case of, like, if this was cut down to 4 episodes, it would be a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
But it's because it's stretched out and padded in areas to make it 6 episodes. It's like, why do this? And don't worry, technically this is the last 6-episode story to ever air. So it's not the last one we're watching, because we are going to watch Shada, which technically never aired because of a strike that went on. But we're going to watch it anyway, because I really love it. And it's a Douglas Adams written story.
But other than
that, there's no more 6 episodes. After this, it's all 4 episodes, and then they change. Well, then in the 80s, it gets a bit weird when the BBC started hating Doctor Who, and it becomes like, okay, now you only get 2 episodes per story, but they're 45-minute episodes.
So it's the same, weird, but like different.
So it's essentially the same. So it's like 1 episode contains the length of 2 episodes now, but it's a bit weird. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah.
But 1 more 6 episodes. Well, I mean, we still have to go back and watch, some reanimated ones like The Evil of the Daleks. We haven't watched yet because I've been saving it, and because it's 7 episodes long. One day they'll reanimate the Daleks' master plan. One day, I'm sure it's on their list. I'm choosing to deny the rumors that BBC have cancelled all animation projects, even though I know it's not a rumor. But, there's still a lot more to go back to. But anyway, that's season 16.
Yay
Hope
for
you
me,
enjoyed it.
Boo for you.
Get ready for season 17, dear. With the next story. Now, here's a question. Would you like to guess the first word or the second word? The story is blank of the blank.
What? The word that I'm gonna be able to pick easier.
They're both fairly easy, but okay, we'll go with Destiny of the blank.
TARDIS?
Nope. Just as iconic, though. You have 2 more guesses.
Is it a person, place, or thing?
Person, thing?
Oh. Oh, please don't tell me it's the Cyberman.
No, close though.
Dalek.
What's your final guess?
Dalek.
Destiny of the Daleks! They're back, baby!
Yay.
They're back! It's been years, but they're finally back, and it's and it's written by Terry Nation too.
Yeah, because he fucked up in America.
What the story's gonna be. Yeah, he did fuck up in America. Well, he didn't fuck up. It's more that America didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
America didn't give 2 shits about the Daleks.
Yeah.
By themselves, and no one else really did either. They're not very interesting by themselves. But anyway, Destiny of the Daleks. Get excited. It's the first Doctor Who DVD I ever bought, actually.
You like it that much?
Well, kind of. I do like it that much. It's one I used to watch just when I'd want to go back and watch an episode. It's only 4 episodes long. It involves the Daleks. It has some fun premises to it. Tom Baker is great. Romana's great.
Yeah.
It's good. So we'll have some fun with the Destiny of the Daleks. Anything else you want to add, dear?
No. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, we're done now. Goodbye.
Bye.